We'll get to the North London derby as well shortly, but first, Manchester United striker Benjamin Šeško will be out for a few weeks with a knee injury. Our reporter Daniel Khan has been speaking to Ruben Amorim this afternoon. He joins us live right now. Hi there, Dan. Big injury blow this. What can you tell us?
Yeah, afternoon, David. I mean, it is a big blow, especially on a personal level for Benjamin Šeško after his big summer move from RB Leipzig in the summer. He will be out for a few weeks, as you mentioned there, with a knee injury. I actually think, on a more positive note, it's probably better than what United would have thought in terms of preventing and not having. He came off against Spurs in that 2-2 draw just before the international break. I think there were fears that it could be, but no fears of that anymore. Few weeks out. But actually, you talk about it being a big blow. When you've looked at some of the bigger games this season, Ruben Amorim's actually gone with other options. You know, against the likes of Liverpool, Matheus Cunha started up front in that game. You look at the Tottenham game just before the international break, Benjamin Šeško actually started that game on the bench. So frustrating for him maybe on a personal level, but also for Ruben Amorim, who wants to see his number 9 for years to come develop here at United. This injury will prevent that from happening.
He's going to stay a few weeks out. I don't know how long, but he's not that serious. We have to be careful with him. He's going to recover. He's doing the recovery. He's feeling better. So in a few weeks, I expect to have Ben.
Two other injury concerns to tell you about as well, David. Harry Maguire has been ruled out of the Monday Night Football against Everton with an injury picked up in that Spurs game. Kobbie Mainoo wasn't also seen at training this morning. He missed that Spurs game, but Amorim did confirm he's back in training tomorrow, so we will see about Monday. But also some positive news. Lisandro Martinez, we saw him in training once again this morning, and Ruben Amorim actually told me he's getting very close to being involved in the matchday squad as well.
We know, Dan, that United strengthened in those attacking positions over the summer. We've talked about Benjamin Šeško and his absence, and that will be particularly concerning to Ruben Amorim, won't it, because of the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations, which means that they'll also lose Bryan Mbeumo for a few weeks. I mean, I wonder how damaging could that tournament be to United's squad and this part of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like Manchester United will be quite heavily impacted by AFCON in the sense of just the importance of the players who will be leaving for a month or so. When you consider Noussar Mazraoui, Bryan Mbeumo, the Premier League's Player of the Month in October, Amad Diallo, who's really picked up form in the last few weeks. And that relationship of Amad and Bryan Mbeumo have been a huge part of United's success in the last month or so. To lose all three of those players will be a big blow for Ruben Amorim. And it was quite interesting hearing from him this afternoon, talking about when he may lose those players. He said that from his understanding, he'll lose them 2 weeks before AFCON, which AFCON starts on December 21st. That date's around December 7th or 8th, which is actually Monday Night Football again. Manchester United taking on Wolves at Molineux. So we will see if those three players are available for that game or not. Ruben Amorim saying, look, we still need to have conversations with the federations as well as the club themselves as well.
When they are going to the CAN, I expect to have Ben back.
Have you been told yet when those three players will go to?
No, we have the rules. When we have to release the players, we will see. We are doing our job to try to maintain the players a little bit longer, but it's not just in our hands. We need to respect that, but we will try to do everything to protect the club, protect the player, and protect the national team.
Sorry, when is it that they're supposed to?
I think it's 2 weeks before the start. So we'll try to arrange something with the federations, but we need to respect their wills in this case.
Are you concerned then for that Wolves game that you won't have everyone available?
Yeah, it's a concern, but we already knew, and it's an opportunity for other players. We have also the under 21s. We need to send also a message in that time. So we'll see. But of course, it's not ideal because they are so important in our team, and we don't have a long squad. But again, our academy is for these moments, and we'll be ready.
And of course, they're playing in the Monday Night Football, aren't they, Manchester United? And they have Everton as the visitors to Old Trafford. And it is a year since Ruben Amorim's first game in charge of United, Dan. Does he feel like he is making progress?
I mean, I think you have to say that United have made progress from last season. Game unbeaten run in the league. Also, you look at the last 3 results as well. I mean, they lost cumulatively 8 times last season to those opponents when you look at Nottingham Forest, Brighton and Tottenham, and they've come through those games unbeaten so far. Everton will be a different test, but it's back at Old Trafford where they have been so positive this season. But taking on Everton a year on from his first game away at Portman Road at Ipswich, I think Ruben Amorim senses, yes, they are improving, but there's still a long way to go as well.
Doesn't matter what we did in the recent games. We cannot forget that we start in that point. We suffered a lot last year, so we have to take that in account and to play every game like it's the last one or the first one. But of course, if you ask me, I expect a team with more control, more dominant, playing a better football, and the most important thing, more competitive in every way.
It feels like Ruben Amorim's Manchester United have weathered the storm he predicted early on. Continue to do so when they take on Everton at Old Trafford Monday night in front of the floodlights. We will wait and find out, David.
Benjamin Šeško, start with there. What's the update with him?
He's going to stay a few weeks out. I don't know how long, but he's not that serious. We have to be careful with him. He's going to recover. He's doing the recovery. He's feeling better. So in a few weeks, I expect to have Ben.
How's the rest of the squad looking ahead of the game on Monday? Is Mainu and Maguire? What's the situation?
Maguire is not ready. Kobe didn't train today, but I think tomorrow we could see Kobe. So we'll see.
Sam? Do you know roughly when Benjamin is going to be back, and will that kind of cut across when Ahmad and Brian go to the African Cup of Nations?
I think it's going to be more or less at the same time. I don't want to say for sure, but when they are going to the CAN, I expect to have Ben back.
Have you been told yet when those 3 players will go to?
No, we have the rules. When we have to release the players, we will see. We are doing our job to try to maintain the players a little bit longer, but it's not just in our hands. We need to respect that, but we will try to do everything to protect the club, protect the player, and protect the national team.
Sorry, when is it that they're supposed to go?
I think it's 2 weeks before the start. So we'll try to arrange something with the federations, but we need to respect their wills in this case.
Are you concerned then for that Wolves game that you won't have everyone available?
Yeah, it's a concern, but we already knew, and there's an opportunity for other players. We have also the under-21s. We need to send also a message in that time. So we'll see. But of course, it's not ideal because they are so important in our team, and we don't have a long squad. But again, our academy is for these moments, and we'll be ready.
You only face 3 top 10 teams in the next 10 games. How much of an opportunity is this run of games for you?
It doesn't matter. In our league, it doesn't matter. The table, it doesn't matter. Everything is so tight that is irrelevant. And if you know the history of our team, you never know where is the difficult game. So that is completely irrelevant in Premier League.
Afternoon, Ruben. Saw Lisandro Martinez in training again this morning. Just wonder how close is he to being match fit? And also, I'm just curious, could you see him as an option in midfield potentially going forward?
I can see. I think a smart, intelligent football player can play in a lot of positions, but it's not the right position for him. He needs more time to work there. He's not working there, but in one emergency he can play. But no, I'm not thinking about that. I feel that Liche is becoming close to be ready to play. Of course, we need to be careful. He's going to struggle in the first minutes, but he's clearly in the better position if you compare 2 weeks ago.
I just wanted to ask you about another player in his position. In terms of Luke Shaw, when the likes of Mazraoui and Ahmad go away for AFCON, do you see Luke Shaw as a possibility to play left wing back? He's mostly played as centre back for
he can play. He can play there. Of course, is the load that a player does in that position is a little bit different. And if you are doing that in a daily basis, it is more prepared to do that position. But of course, he can play there. He's a smart player and is fit in the moment, so I think it's an option.
I know you've been asked about anniversaries a lot recently, but on Monday it's a year since your first game. What do you remember about the build-up to that Ipswich game? Obviously coming to a new country, trying to get the players to learn a new way of playing in 2 or 3 days. It must be very hectic.
Yeah, there was everything really fast. The first thinking was like the first game, the environment is completely different of Premier League, and I was excited with that. Right away, I knew that we will struggle in some things, but was that feeling of yes, it's the best league in the world, is maybe the best club in the world, but at the same time, it's a big job and is going to require a lot of work.
And when you look back at what you saw on the pitch at Portman Road a year ago compared to what you would expect to see at Old Trafford on Monday, there must be massive differences in how the team are playing, the way they behave.
Yeah, I think we are showing that, but the important thing is that doesn't matter what we did in the recent games. We cannot forget that we start in that point. We suffered a lot last year, so we have to take that in account and to play every game like it's the last one or the first one. But of course, if you ask me, I expect a team with more control, more dominant, playing a better football, and the most important thing, more competitive in every way.
Move on to the second. We welcome you back in our studio. Tim Howard, Robbie Earle, Rebecca Lowe, Liverpool. This is the 4th time the defending Premier League champions have started this badly. The other 3 occasions, Blackburn in 95-96, Chelsea in 2015-16. You might remember under Jose Mourinho, they were 10th at this stage, and Leicester City after winning their title in 2016. We maybe didn't expect them to do as well, Robbie, as last season, but we didn't expect this.
No. Without doubt. That's probably Arne Slot's worst day in charge of Liverpool Football Club backs. To lose 3-0 away at Manchester City is one thing. To lose 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest is another. And the game doesn't lie. Your eyes don't lie when you're watching that game. And I was all over that game. In that, Murillo and Milenkovic look a better centre-back partner than Van Dijk and Konate right now. Dominic Szoboszlai playing at right-back is a waste because they need his energy and his ability in midfield. Alexander Isak has 2 touches of the ball in the opposition's box. 1 shot, none on target. The numbers that are just not good enough. And when a team don't play transition for Liverpool, so the ball's turning over in this space in behind, they're struggling to break teams down. That's about as bad as it could have got for Arne Slot today. On a day when we talked about them maybe being part of a title race, we're now looking at them being in the bottom half of the table, probably struggling to get in Europe.
We have to always, with Liverpool this season, talk about what happened in the summer and the loss of Diogo Jota. That, of course, has had a huge effect. And Andy Robinson was even talking about it this week while away on international duty. But you also have to look at the money they've spent and the number of players, top-quality players that they've brought in that haven't done it. So where do you think now the onus lies?
On Arne Slot. Simple as that. When I think about Liverpool Football Club, and I know them very well from all of my time on the teams that I played with, I've never seen them this short on confidence. Like as a group, that's the one thing they don't do. Sometimes they don't recruit right, that's all fine. They're never short on confidence. And I just think they're a little bit square pegs, round holes, which also doesn't scream Liverpool Football Club. You talked about Dominic Szoboszlai, has to be in the midfield, can't be at right back. Wirtz, where do we put him? Do we put him at the 10? Do we put him on the wing? We have to try and find a place for him. That's never been how
have we got to this then?
Well, they've brought in players that you would think, I thought would hit the ground running. These are proper Premier League players, and they just haven't done it. And so I now think that Slot is looking at thinking, do I have to go back to square one? Do I have to put Andy Robertson at left back, because I actually brought in someone to replace him this summer. I wasn't planning on doing that. So there's a lot of question. I think he's sort of backtracking as well, which isn't a great thing.
I mean, Liverpool don't panic. They don't fire their managers.
No.
The problem is they're 11th in the table, 6 defeats in their last 7. Where does he stand, Slot?
Well, the optics don't look good, but he's got credit in the bank backs. What he did in his first season in charge and winning that title, he's absolutely not under the pressure of losing his job. But he's got to start to turn things around quickly. And when you spend record fees on a striker who doesn't even have a shot on target, the manager's under pressure to work this out.
Yeah, Isak had just 15 touches all game and was replaced midway through the second.
The future of Ethan Nwanery's potential loan move is suddenly uncertain, as Arsenal remain wary of repeating past setbacks caused by injuries. According to recent reports, the club is open to sending the young midfielder out on loan this winter, but the idea raises immediate questions. Nwanery has become the talk of the moment after a report from the Daily Mail suggested that Arsenal are considering a temporary move for the 18-year-old. Despite his limited minutes this season, the thought of letting him leave, even temporarily, comes with significant doubts. Back in October, Mikel Arteta publicly insisted that Nwanery would have plenty of opportunities to play, pointing to the fact that the teenager had already been called upon when Martin Odegaard was injured. "I don't know, but I don't work with expectations," Arteta said at the time. "I work with what the players can give in the context of where the team is at that moment." Ethan played 2 Premier League matches early on because Martin was out. He's played in other competitions and he'll play more. Yet the reality has been very different. Nwanery has logged fewer than 500 minutes this season, appearing in just 5 of Arsenal's 11 Premier League games, none of them as a starter. His only starts came in the 2 EFL Cup wins over Port Vale and Brighton, and in the 3-0 Champions League victory against Slavia Prague. The arrival of Ebereki Eze and the promotion of Max Daumann have tightened competition even further. And despite injuries to Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, and Noni Madueke, Nwanery's pathway has only narrowed. It's easy to forget how young he still is. At 18, and having first debuted at just 15, like Daumann, these are formative years where consistent playing time is crucial. The busy festive period could open that door, but with Odegaard, Madueke, and Kai Havertz all nearing their returns, there's a real chance Nwanery could slide even further down the pecking order. This is why a January loan sounds logical on paper, but it also sets off alarm bells. Arsenal's season has already been shaped by injuries for the 2nd year in a row, and squad depth has never felt more essential. A single setback among the attacking players over the holiday fixture run could thrust Nwanery back into an important role almost overnight. The more sensible approach may be to reassess in the summer, once the squad naturally reshapes and the club have a clearer picture of their needs heading into 2025. Only then would a loan feel more secure, ensuring Nwanery actually gets the minutes he needs rather than risking another stalled development. Even then, nothing is guaranteed. Supporters will remember Serge Gnabry's loan to West Brom, intended to push him closer to first-team football, but ultimately a move that derailed his progress before he rebuilt his career in Germany. Arsenal's recent history with loans has been mixed at best, and too often unsuccessful. For now, the club must weigh the immediate needs of the squad against the long-term growth of one of their brightest prospects. Whether a loan becomes the right option, or another cautionary tale, remains to be seen. But the complexity of Nwanery's situation extends beyond simply playing time and squad depth. Inside the club, there is an ongoing debate about how quickly young talents should be exposed to the pressures of elite-level football. Some staff members argue that Nwanery's technical level is already above many players his age and that keeping him close to Arteta's structure will accelerate his development. Others believe that without consistent starts, and without a clear pathway to earn them, his progress could plateau. The uncertainty has also stirred conversation among supporters and pundits. Several former Arsenal players have expressed concern that the club may be repeating old patterns, where promising youngsters become trapped between first-team aspirations and inconsistent minutes. Others, however, believe the club is being careful for the right reasons, protecting a player who still needs physical development before facing the demands of weekly Premier League battles. This internal and external pressure has placed added scrutiny on Arteta's handling of young talents this season. While he has been praised for trusting academy graduates in the past, the balance has become harder to maintain now that Arsenal are competing on multiple fronts and aiming for silverware. Every decision carries weight. Resting senior players risks losing points, while overusing inexperienced teenagers risks injury or decline in confidence. There is also the broader question of what kind of loan would actually benefit Nwanery, should the club eventually decide to pursue one. A move to a Premier League side fighting relegation could offer minutes, but expose him to a demanding environment that prioritizes survival over development. A Championship loan, on the other hand, might provide consistent matches, but at the cost of adjusting to a more physical style that does not always align with Arsenal's tactical identity. European options have been mentioned as well, though not confirmed. The possibility of joining a club in the Netherlands or Germany, leagues known for nurturing young talent, has been discussed quietly among observers. Yet Arsenal are hesitant, given how unpredictable such moves can be and how often they fail to produce the expected results. Meanwhile, Nwaneri himself remains focused and professional, according to those around the training ground. He is said to be eager for opportunities, but not frustrated or discouraged. The coaching staff admire his attitude, which only complicates the decision further. He is doing everything right, and still his future remains uncertain. As Arsenal approach the January window, the club finds itself at a crossroads. The next few weeks will likely be decisive, not just for Nwaneri's short-term career, but for how Arsenal choose to manage their most gifted prospects in an era of high expectations and relentless schedules. Any decision made now will be examined closely, not only because of what it means for Nwaneri, but because it will signal how the club intends to balance ambition with development as they move into the next phase of Arteta's project. Arsenal now face a difficult setback. Piero Hincapié may have to step into the North London derby under less than ideal circumstances after Gabriel's injury blow. The club is hoping that Hincapié's long late return trip to North London won't affect his readiness to replace Gabriel against Tottenham, because losing the Brazilian for such a crucial match is a major hit to Mikel Arteta's plans. Arsenal have already been forced to cope with key absences at various stages of the season, but Gabriel missing the derby presents a challenge of a very different magnitude. Naturally, the focus shifts to who will fill the gap on the left side of Arsenal's defense, and for many, the most logical answer is Piero Hincapié. The summer signing impressed during his only start for the club so far, an outstanding display at left centre-back in the League Cup win over Brighton. That night, he partnered with Christian Mosquera, who is also an option for Arteta on Sunday. One possible configuration would see William Saliba move to the left, with Mosquera taking his place on the right, depending on how heavily Hincapié's international travel weighs on Arteta's decision. And that travel is far from insignificant. The Ecuadorian defender is currently away with his national team. He captained Ecuador during their 0-0 draw with Canada, helping secure the clean sheet. But the real concern comes with his final international fixture. Ecuador face New Zealand in New Jersey in the early hours of Wednesday morning, UK time. The match kicks off at 1:30 a.m. and is expected to finish around 4 a.m. Only after that will Hincapié board his flight back to England, meaning he won't arrive in London until Wednesday afternoon at the earliest. From there, he will have just a handful of days to recover, settle back in, and prepare for one of the most intense fixtures of the season. The slight silver lining is that the derby falls late in the weekend, giving him as much time as possible to reintegrate. Still, the timing of his return is far from ideal and adds yet another layer of uncertainty to Arsenal's defensive preparations ahead of a match that could define their momentum for weeks to come. Beyond the logistical headache, Arteta and his staff must also consider the physical and tactical demands that a North London derby imposes. It is not the sort of match where a defender can arrive underprepared, particularly against a Tottenham side that has looked sharp in attack this season. Any hesitation, any lapse in intensity caused by travel fatigue, could be costly. Inside Arsenal, there is a quiet concern that the club may once again be walking a tightrope with its defensive depth. Over the past 2 seasons, injuries at the back have forced Arteta into uncomfortable choices, and Gabriel's setback reopens a conversation that the club hoped was behind them. The manager has repeatedly emphasized the importance of continuity across the defensive line, especially given how central the high defensive line and controlled build-up are to Arsenal's identity. Gabriel and Saliba have been at the core of that stability, and disrupting it inevitably changes the team's rhythm. Analysts close to the club have noted that Hincapié's profile fits the role well, confident under pressure, quick across the ground, and capable of progressing the ball with either foot. However, they also caution that he is still adapting to the Premier League's pace and physicality. Throwing him straight into a derby environment may accelerate his integration, but it also carries risk. Supporters have expressed mixed reactions as well. Many are eager to see Hincapié given a real opportunity, believing his style suits Arsenal's long-term plans. Others worry that asking him to deliver immediately, under difficult circumstances, could place unnecessary pressure on a player still in the early stages of adjusting to English football. The The timing of Gabriel's injury also complicates Arsenal's broader goals. With a congested winter schedule approaching and the title race tightening, every match takes on heightened importance. Dropping points against Tottenham could shift momentum, not just in the standings but in confidence across the squad. It also forces Arteta to rethink how he manages minutes for defenders who have already logged heavy workloads this season. Club insiders say the staff have been preparing contingency plans for weeks, anticipating scenarios where international duties and injuries overlap. Yet even the best planning can be stretched thin when travel delays and late-night kickoffs are added to the equation. In the coming days, the medical and performance teams will conduct assessments to determine exactly how ready Hincapie is for Sunday's showdown. Arteta is expected to make a late decision, balancing long-term health with short-term necessity. The hope is that the Ecuadorian arrives in good condition, responds well to training, and can at least offer a reliable solution in Gabriel's absence. What remains undeniable is that Arsenal enter the derby under a new layer of pressure, forced to adapt, to trust their depth, and to test the resilience that has been a defining theme of their season so far.